Hello guys, welcome back to Godzilla-THON. Today, Godzilla and Mothra battle for Earth. What's this, you ask? It's the Mothra pendant. I had a buddy of mine, William, has a 3D printer. I got him to print it up and I painted it. Figured it would be pretty appropriate to show this off given the movie today. The plot centers around... See, how should I describe the two main characters are divorced and have a kid. The father, when we first meet him, we think he's an archaeologist, but it turns out that he raids these temples and stuff and sells the stuff on the black market, is what I'm taking of it. Because there's a scene later where his ex tells him, she gives him a letter from their daughter, and it said, "I hope you're catching lots of bad guys, daughter, daddy." And he goes, "Did you tell her I'm some kind of cop?" And she mentioned, better than telling her the truth that her father's a thief. Anyway, we see him in a temple in the beginning, and it sets him up to be kind of a bumbling Indiana Jones. He takes this statue, the temple starts falling apart, and when he gets out, military police arrest him. At this point, a meteor already landed in the ocean. It awoke Godzilla, and the Prime Minister, the guy's ex-wife, and someone that's a representative from a company, the Maritomo Corporation, are approaching him. "We need this expedition, blah, blah, blah." And at first he refuses, and his ex points out, "You're going to be here a long time. They're charging you for destroying valuable historical artifacts." So he basically agrees to go to get out of the jail. Now, it gets funny at some points because there's one point where they're going across this rickety old bridge, and he thinks it's going to hold them, but it snaps, and he's being smart because they're holding on, and the bridge itself is fixing to fall. So he's like, "We're going to have to jump," and he starts pulling her fingers off, and she's telling him off when he's really doing the best thing for her. They're at a safe enough height to fall into the water, but if they fall with the bridge, it's going to knock them unconscious and they're going to drown. So they all fall in, and when he gets out, he checks the map, and he's like, "Whoa, cool, if we go down the river, we're going to save a lot of time." And the other two are behind him, have this annoyed look on their face. It's the funniest scene in the movie, and they empty the water out of their shoes. So they're going down the river, and the two are having some fun back and forth banter about rowing. Again, it's a consistent thing. The Heisei series consistently had good characters. There's a few I don't like here or there, but for the most part, they're spot on. The guy from the corporation, the Maritomo Corporation, you might recognize from Godzilla 2000, a film I don't like. He played the father in that film, and I've dubbed that character Bearded Idiot. Anyway, they get into a cave, see a mural, and on it you see Mothra fighting another giant moth-like creature. This is Batra. They meet the Shobijin, the twin fairies. They go to take the island back to Japan. And why this happens, Batra shows up and starts attacking Japan. The explanation that a long time ago there was an advanced civilization on Earth. Things were good until they invented a machine that controlled the weather, and the Earth created the Black Mothra. Batra is kind of Guardian-esque like Mothra, only he goes too far and takes his wrath out on everyone, good and bad. Well, while they're transporting the egg, it hatches. Godzilla and the baby Mothra fights, and this is a pretty tenacious Mothra. She even jumps and bites Godzilla's tail. When she sprays her silk, it appears to burn Godzilla, which I think is a nice touch because the material they used to make that silk was petroleum based and it actually did burn to get in contact with the skin. And apparently it had to be washed off with gasoline, at least the Showa era consistency. I don't know about the Heisei, but I assume it's the same way. Well, at this point, Batra was attacking mainland Japan, comes to, leaves, and he fights Godzilla. It causes a fissure to open up, and Godzilla gets swallowed up, and presumably Batra too. They get back to the mainland. The Maritomo Corporation has the ferries, and they're similar to the villains from Mothra and how they're wanting to exploit them. And there's some back and forth with the government. It doesn't like it. The one guy who I think's the prime minister, I'm like, dude, you're the prime minister. The fairies are living beings with conscience. They're being held against their will. Send the military police to arrest the president of the Maritomo Corporation for slavery or something. You have the power. You can do it. Is that too hard? Anyway, Mothra comes. The girl's father actually stole the fairies and he was going to sell them. Meets up with the kids. Miki Sagusa's in this and she helps find the fairies. And the girl even blurts out, Daddy, don't steal anymore. I don't want to be a thief's daughter. And the mother tells him, I didn't tell her. She just knows on her own. And he does express interest in getting back together. And she mentions, if you sell the cosmos, that can't happen. But if you don't, maybe we can work something out. We see a scene when they get back from the expedition where it's clear the two still care about each other. So they show Mothra the cosmos is okay. She goes to leave. The military attacks her. She sprays her cocoon. Godzilla comes out of Mount Fuji, and there's a scene with the president of the Maritomo Corporation whining about, it's not fair. Why should I suffer more than everyone else? God, Mothra and Batra fight. Then the final fight is great because it ends with Mothra and Batra teaming up. Both puppets are well realized effects. Batra just looks awesome, and Batra saves this movie. I'll touch up on that in a minute. And during the fight, and this is one of my gripes, once they get Godzilla down, Godzilla bites Batra's neck, and it ends very similar to how the previous movie ended. This movie ends with the opponents carrying Godzilla away. The last movie ended with the opponent carrying Godzilla away. And in both cases, this case, Batra dies. In the other case, Mecha King Ghidorah gets destroyed. And it ends with the opponent carrying Godzilla falling into the ocean. Then we find out Batra awoke because there was a meteor coming to Earth. And now Mothra's leaving into space to destroy it. I will say it's a nice touch, and I hate in future Godzilla movies they didn't keep this up. They gave Mothra beam attacks and stuff and made her a more credible opponent to Godzilla instead of just flapping her wings and dragging him around. Why in the Millennium series they didn't give this back, I don't know. Now, it sounds like this movie's pretty good. Really, I don't hate it, but I think it's the worst of the Heisei series because they're constantly beating the environmental message into you. The Earth is getting its revenge. The meteor was simply a detonator that set off a time bomb that was started by us humans. Mankind's been destroying what the Earth took millions of years to build up, and it's non-stop. They just keep hitting you over the head with the environmental mumbo-jumbo. But still, I recommend it. It's decent enough. It's easily the worst of the Heisei films, but it's far from the worst film in the franchise. So, Godzilla and Mothra Battle for Earth, also known as Godzilla vs. Mothra. Check it out. I can't recommend this Blu-ray enough. So, that's my review. See it. This double pack is definitely a must-own regardless. So until next time, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you for Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Over and out.